Hey everyone, how's it going? Alex Mendez here, or you can just call me Golden Boy, and I am here in San Diego, California with the Psionic Studios guys, and joining me right now is Corey Davis, the game director of Nosgoth. Corey, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing, I'm doing all right. I can't wait to get some Nosgoth. So actually, let me just ask you, what are people going to see here today?
So this is our first look at gameplay footage, live gameplay footage, and we're going to see a lot of different things. We're going to see a new map, a bunch of different classes and abilities, some custom personal skins, premium skins, and maybe even some unreleased content for the beta. Ooh,
all right, okay, cool. So we're gonna be taking a look at a vast majority of things here with Nosgoth. It's gonna be awesome, can't wait. So we're actually gonna take a look at the profiles and the armory as well, just the menu system of Nosgoth. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Tell me about the Hunter.
So the Hunter is our sort of bread and butter ranged class. He's got an automatic crossbow, so people that play other shooters, he'll feel right at home with him. But he's also got a variety of damaging and disabling abilities. So, we're looking right now at the grenade. It's a pretty, extremely powerful, typical grenade that you lob at somebody. But vampires are so fast, it takes a lot of skill to aim it properly and time it properly.
Yeah.
His bola is really his staple skill, which we saw for a second there. It actually wraps up vampires' arms and disables them.
Yeah, and now we're taking a look at the Scout, which kind of is the more long-range focus class.
So we're looking at his longbows. He's a sniper. He's got a camouflage ability that lets him go invisible. He can call out a rain of arrows and damage an entire group of vampires, which is really useful in group fights.
Nice. Okay, well, of course, we'll see a lot of that, variety later on as people play, and of course the Alchemist as well, another class, and the Alchemist is more or less that damage based, AOE class.
AOE damage dealer and support to some extent.
Okay, very cool. And I guess of the three, which is the one that you prefer to use a little bit more than the other? If you had to give the nod.
If I had to pick one, I really like playing Scout, but I treat them all equally when balancing.
You treat them all fair. We want to get that point across. And another thing I want to ask you is about the abilities here. And actually, we're taking a look at one of the vampires of Reaver, which is I think going to be one of the more popular ones or something. Yeah. Everything's earnable.
Sure.
Correct. So
so all these abilities, we're developers, so we have everything unlocked right now, but nothing gameplay relevant is cash only. You can earn everything by acquiring gold and purchasing it in the store. Okay,
that's very nice. Now taking a look at the Tyrant, my personal fave.
He's a lot of fun.
He just dominates everyone. Absolute destruction. Hopefully we get to see that, as we take a look at some of the matches here. And he's more of that tank character, right? Yeah,
he can be played as a tank. You can also, we just saw in Rage, you can play him as a damage dealer if you prefer that role, but he has a very big, hulking, tanky vampire. That's what you want to play.
Of course, never a bad thing there. Yeah. And the Sentinel, finally, the aerial-based class here of the three vampire groups.
Yeah, he can actually fly around maps. You have to climb to altitude before you can fly, but that's not too hard to do as a super agile vampire.
Without a doubt.
He's got a lot of really cool moves. Mainly, he can kidnap enemies and snatch them into the air and carry them away from their team.
All right. Well, I think we are going to be taking a look now at some action and seeing how these players and everyone stacks up. Yep. Any predictions on anything like crazy that we might see?
I don't know. The teams are usually pretty even. But we'll see. We've had some powerful vampire teams here in the past, so they may take the day. We'll see. So we're loading into the Summerdam map. This is our newest map that we released to the alpha recently. It's the first time we're showing it publicly. It's this really cool sort of human city under siege, and we're actually fighting over this prison city that's attached to it. So when Hawk here looks up into the hills, you can kind of see a city up on a hill on fire. Yeah, and also using the Alchemist class here, which is actually something that we did not touch upon in the when we were showing you guys like the menus and everything, because we of course wanted you guys to see this one in action. So the Alchemist is very unique in comparison to and I feel like obviously the other two classes are super unique, but the Alchemist in itself provides a much different experience, and you can actually see an engagement happening right now, right away. And that's not going to be good. Yeah. So yeah, the Alchemist, the cool thing she's got going is she not only has projectile weapons, so she's got this grenade launcher she's using, she just used her firewall, so she can basically conjure this nasty wall of flame that hurts vampires pretty badly. It's a good sort of positional deterrent. You can walk off an entryway or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. So, and what are the alchemist's strengths though, right? Because you mentioned a firewall, but going up against a tyrant, that's not
going
good.
For the melee kill.
Already.
That was pretty cool.
That actually was pretty cool. It took 3 people to take take the alchemist down, take Huck down.
So her strength ultimately is range damage or AOE damage. Sorry.
Okay.
So the other classes are very much single target focused, except for their abilities. She's constantly shooting explosives. So if the vampires group up, she can do a ton of area damage to all of them.
Okay. And now, and just my thing about this game is the maps. While they are very diverse in their design, it's not like you're going to be spawned out so far away that you're not going to get to the action.
Right. So humans in particular, we do some squad spawning. So we try to. It's very hard to survive on your own in this game by design. So we try to spawn you in a group with your teammates. So even if you die a little off sync with somebody, you'll spawn together as a unit.
Oh, and now we see the kidnap. That's not good, and this is going to cause a certain amount of damage there. Now, what's the range on the damage, actually, when you get kidnapped, just out of curiosity?
So the base kidnap doesn't do direct damage, but you take more and more damage the farther you fall. You can't take a one-hit kill just because we avoid those as a rule.
Okay.
But you can do maybe half to 70% of your life if you get high enough in the air. That's just, it's hard to pull off as a sentinel.
Okay. And you have that balance between all these different classes, kind of like rock, paper, scissors. So actually,
she's actually kind of weak against sentinels, for instance. So the other guys have these, super accurate long-range weapons. She's shooting explosive, so it's kind of hard to hit a flying target.
Now, what was that she used there?
So that is the healing mist. He's swapped to a more support ability. So what he did was he traded out his flame wall, which is, while defensive, a damaging ability, for healing mist, which heals all of his teammates inside of it. So you can heal it. Oh, he just got murdered by the sentinel.
It's got mauled, ran up on you.
So it's a pretty cool sentinel ability called puncture, where he actually stabs you with both of his wings and does a ton of damage.
Ooh. That does not sound like a good way to go.
But yeah, so humans, there are these resupply stations, we'll point them out in a minute, that let you get ammo and health back, but you can only use them every 2 minutes. Ooh. So having the ability to heal your whole team at once is really powerful. Yeah,
that's a pretty great ability. And now, what was that there that
was
she used?
The light bomb. So she starts with a flashbang, but you can trade that out for a more damaging bomb instead if you don't need the blind effect.
Okay.
So she was basically trying to open with some damage there.
Okay.
And actually, like there's the healing mist again, so you can see he's healing up inside of his effect.
Yeah, and actually teammates are using it too.
Everybody's congregating to it.
Now, is that a little dangerous though, right? Because
definitely.
You have them grouping together, and that could spell doom there, especially if you have one of those tyrants get in there and ruin their day.
So a good tyrant will come charging in or jumping in and spot. We also see those healing areas are magnets for the Reaver who just killed him, has these green choking bombs. Yeah. And a lot of times you'll see it's just a magnet for that kind of AoE. Yeah. Because you can basically negate the heal.
Wow. Okay, so you negate the heal and then you just end up causing damage?
Yeah. Yeah. So normally
if I threw my bomb on top of the mist.
Right, it kind of cancels out. You're taking damage and getting healed at the same time.
Okay, and now we'll switch over to some Hunter gameplay here.
So this is our sort of...
risky.
He's a little bit more like playing a traditional shooter. He's got an automatic weapon. It's a crossbow. It looks like he's using the multi-bow, which is the burst fire model. So what he's done is, this is an unlockable, or you can purchase it. But you can trade out full auto for burst fire.
And of course gives you a little bit more accuracy. Reaver right in front, and that was the bola actually. So you just saw that kind of get into play there, and you see the damage on the other side of the wall. So they were able to clean up that kill, and that's great, right? Because now I guess what I'm a little worried about here, looking at this from like maybe an esports perspective, for example, is are the humans like Left 4 Dead if they're by themselves, or
don't kill?
Well, I guess I answered my own question there. Because I guess people always look at it and they're like, oh yeah, well the vampires obviously have to be like really good, but then taking a look here at this game, humans are winning 17 to 12, so I think they're doing kind of okay.
Actually, the vampires are winning right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But yeah, it's a fair point, and we try to strike a balance. There's another bola. Try to strike a balance of, we want humans to have to group up because it's more interesting game and they require teamwork to succeed. Yeah. But we never want you to feel totally powerless. So one-on-one, you always have a chance, especially if you're a really good human player. Okay. So it's not like Left 4 Dead where you're going to get pounced by a smoker or something and just be totally out of the fight without a teammate.
Okay.
But you are pretty vulnerable for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I think also, you know, if when a game goes out to wild, right? You have these players that are just like so good already, good. And I think you said it before. It's like when it goes out there, I'm already bad at the game because everyone else is, you know, these players that have so much experience, and you can see some of that accuracy there, that multi-blow.
So interestingly, you know, the initial reaction is often that the vampires are overpowered or too good, and what we find is we've actually had to do more to correct humans being OP, because as people get more and more and more accurate, the humans just get deadlier and deadlier, whereas, you know, the vampires are a little more ability-driven, a little more movement-driven. So we're constantly looking at ways to increase the skill cap for vampires.
And while there are a lot of abilities for the humans for a single target, I would say the vampires, they're more single target focused, but they are, when you use your abilities well, like you could really just take over like a confrontation, like we saw right there where the humans ended up just getting crushed.
That's been a focus for us because, you know, they are a melee faction, but we find, you know, just spamming the melee button isn't super skillful. Like, it's your bread and butter, but, you know, the strength of a good vampire player should be proper timing and aiming of your abilities. So we put a lot of their power into those. Yeah. We'll see those in a little bit.
Vampires are only going to be 2 kills away from victory here. So, you know, in-house vampire, this team of vampires definitely, outperforming.
Yeah, it looks like we may have not assigned the teams as well as we should have, but we'll see how it goes when they trade sides, see if it's quite the same or not.
That should be pretty fun there. So about 2 minutes and 40. So now you guys, there's a flamethrower. Yeah. That has been the bane of my existence in the alpha so much.
He
goodness.
It there.
Yeah, he totally did. But as a Reaver, I just fear for myself. So now 14 to 30, we have a second side. I'm curious, what happens in the instance of a draw? Like, what have you planned?
Well, so if you draw in the one round, then you obviously have the second round to settle it because it's the cumulative score that wins. We're still discussing how we want to handle full round draws. Right now, we go towards the team that achieved the score first.
Okay.
So if you get to 30 kills, the round ends immediately, and you win that round. So we basically just treat whoever reached the score first that it ends on as the winner right now.
Okay.
But, you know, we're always looking at things. It'd be awesome to have like a sudden death sequence or something like that, but it's a little more challenging with 2 factions because it's like you have to play both in a sudden death.
Yeah. Now we have Reaver gameplay here, and again, guys, this is like one of the first times that you're probably seeing this. So a lot of you are probably going wild in the chat, or you're really just digging it. Now the Reaver is, I wouldn't say you're more traditional because I don't think it's what I would expect most people when they log into the game to select because it's something that looks a little familiar. But the skills and abilities that the Reaver have are very unique. Well, why don't you like break that down a little bit?
He's very much a skirmisher, sort of. You can see our giant glowing tyrant there, who's more of the tank class. The Reaver is more of our skirmishing DPS.
Triple kill.
Yeah, Hawk just got a triple. So what he's focusing on, his core ability is the pounce. Basically, he can charge up and leap pretty far across the level. If you played the Hunter in Left 4 Dead, you'd probably be familiar with the idea of what the ability is. And Hawk's chosen Haste, which is a sort of a movement and attack speed buff. So when he gets into close range, he can pop that and just go to town with melee attacks.
And the Q is which one again?
The Q, he's using the poison grenade. So we treat them more as bombs than grenades because vampires using grenades is a little funky. But he's basically got this concoction that's poisonous to humans, and it's a great camping or turtle breaking ability because we don't want humans to just sit in the house and be invincible.
Yeah.
So Reavers and other classes have these things you can kind of chuck into doorways or rooftops and push people out of a camp spot.
And I noticed also in my time playing, there are different variations to certain abilities, and like for example, the bola, the dreaded bola. If you're a Reaver, you'll get hit with that quite a bit. Yeah. But you have that time it's propped up on there, so you have different kinds of abilities. Like I know one apparently like doesn't assist you as much with being able to leap onto a victim. You have to aim it yourself manually, right? Yeah,
so his core ability that you get when you start is called Pounce. We have a variation called Savage Pounce that does more damage, but it doesn't provide any aim assist. So you can see when he's charging it up, there's a little claw marker over people's heads. That means you have them locked on.
Okay.
And it basically will help you hit them.
9 times out of 10, you should be able to hit them.
Right. And the Savage Pounce basically lets you trade out, say, I'm really good. I'm going to forego all my aim assistance, but I'll get more damage. So it rewards skill shots. So if you line up the perfect pounce from way across the map, it does significantly more damage than the base pounce does.
I can only imagine calling that action. He's going to go for it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, across the map.
It's pretty solid. The guy just got kidnapped.
That is just not cool at all.
So, he's going for it here, and he missed it.
Oh man, that would have been disgusting.
One of the coolest interactions is actually grabbing a guy out of the sky. We have a couple.
So you can have that interaction, right?
Yeah.
That team comp almost.
We don't put any limitations on that. We haven't seen that level of coordination in the alpha yet, but we assume eventually players are going to just do absurd things.
Now, what was that ability that he just busted out with the when he turned blue? That was the...
He switched to evasion, so that's what you start with as a Reaver. It's more of a defensive cooldown than haste, which he had on earlier. And evasion dodges all the bullets that are shot at you, and it will also break you out of any things like Bola. So it's very good for survival purposes. But yeah, it turns off your attack. So the trade-off is you're basically invincible except to explosions, but you can't attack people.
Which alchemists have taken full advantage of when I fight them. And
exploded.
Nothing they could do there. So Psionic's very own Eric with that kill. So the Reaver certainly is one of the more fast. Well, it is the faster of the 3 that are currently out right now. And oh wow, I did not know you could do that. Okay,
some people use it as a movement ability. So it's got a cooldown of about 12 seconds. So if you think you're going to have time between when you use it before you engage, you could use it as a sort of traversal ability and then let it recharge before you actually fight.
So if you think you're running and scaling buildings, you can actually just leap over everything, which is pretty awesome. But it's obviously not as powerful as the Tyrant's Leap, for example, because the Tyrant's Leap comes down and just crashes on everything.
Yeah, it doesn't afford you nearly as much control with the aiming trajectory, things like that.
Okay. And it seems like gets picked off again.
He's going to switch over to the Sentinel here.
Okay. And what is he going to use?
Try and kidnap some of these alchemists.
Dive bomb? All right.
Yeah, so he's using the stock Sentinel loadout. You basically get kidnap, which we've seen from the other side. So, you can't fly from standing. You have to climb something and leap off of it to get the altitude, basically, to start flying. But once you're in flight, we don't put any restrictions on it.
Yeah, and I actually pretty... Oh, there's that dive bomb. Missed the dive bomb. But that dive bomb's devastating, though.
Yeah.
I've had it done to me quite a few times. I think if anything, I've revealed that my ability in this game, not that well. Oh, man. And that was going to be Eric again with another one of those. So, decided, okay, dive bomb's not going to work.
A little bit. He's switching to takeoff, which is a little bit more survival-oriented. And what takeoff lets you do is actually, like it says, take off straight into the air.
Okay.
So what it's great at is it's an escape. So if I'm taking a ton of damage, I get bold, whatever, he'll actually rocket off the ground and cause a shockwave that damages people nearby.
And this should be a big kill.
Yeah, that's 600 damage right there.
That hurts.
So he's going to chase, it looks like.
And he's actually...
he may have been evaded.
Yep, actually was evaded. I think he ran to the right, and he went to the left. That's unfortunate. And so the skin, actually, that he's using, is that a...
That's a premium skin right there.
Okay.
Nice wing flap. So what that does is actually knock everyone in a line. Everyone in a line in front of you off their feet. So it's actually pretty powerful if you aim it right, because it'll disrupt whatever the enemy team is doing.
And it can hit multiple targets at the same time.
And they take fall damage, so if they're standing by a ledge and you wing flap them, they'll take quite a bit of damage falling to their potentially death, but probably
or probably
just to a lower ledge,
break their ankle.
But it rewards you for finding people near ledges and things like that.
Oh wow, okay. And then you had mentioned that you've been seeing a lot of advanced players actually fly really low to the ground to avoid getting hit by these scouts.
Yeah. So what you'll see with really good Sentinel players and against good human players is that they get so good at aiming that if you maintain too much altitude, you'll just get picked off before you get close. So what we find good Sentinels do is fly very close to the ground using geometry to shield them from humans until the last second. That's
actually a really good approach, and I just absolutely love that.
There goes the pouncer. So he was having a little trouble with the
Sentinel.
With Sentinel, so he switched back to Reaver. Looks like he's still using.
I'll tell you what, though, the human team has been doing a great job of just holding him back with the like the alchemist. You know what I mean? Like really just taking advantage of that.
Yep.
And Oh, there goes that aim assist right there. And, but you can get broken out, as you saw right there. So if you're getting shot, you are going to be taking some damage, and you're going to have to get away from that.
Yeah, you can knock. So he's playing Reaver with Pounce. You can knock pouncing Reavers off of teammates. You see it happening.
Now, does that happen with the Savage as well?
Yeah, they both use that.
Ooh.
So most of your damage comes from impact, but you do incapacitate the target and deal damage over time to them, but that can be interrupted by teammates.
Okay, and just had a reckless Alchemist actually try and get in the fray there, but it ended up paying dearly. So
he's evading right now. He can't take damage from bullets.
Yeah, but an Alchemist doesn't care about that. An Alchemist will just devastate you. He
probably didn't want to go in there. Luckily, he got away.
Now, a Reaver generally will, like, so when you look at it, that was a great pounce, by the way. So a Reaver generally will not be the guy that's going to initiate.
He's dead. That's a great ending screen.
So 44 to 51. So the totals are added at the end.
Yep.
Right, and the winner is the first vampire team. I don't know. Well, I don't know. We should give them names. I don't know.
Team 1 and Team 2.
Okay. Well, you know what? If you want to be generic,
Hawks team and Alex's team.
Okay.
Hawks team 1. It looks like.
Okay. Hawks team 1. Woo! All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it certainly was awesome to see there, and you know, of course, a little bit of varied gameplay as well, which never hurts, right?
Yeah.
And so we're gonna go and actually hop into a second game where we're gonna be showing off Siege, and that should be pretty fun.
Yeah.